when I look back and what am I running from, I grew up in Tehran, Iran. My early childhood from when I was 6 years old was a childhood of revolution and war, the morality police, worrying about my mother getting arrested just for any random thing, worrying about bombs destroying our household. Every night we were in the basement while the neighborhood was getting bombed. And then when we came to the United States, our family as immigrants were poor. We couldn't afford a home. My mom and dad and my brother and I shared one bed. The earliest thoughts I can think of when I was 12 or 13 or 15 was, I just wanted the money to afford a house or to have vacations that weren't sort of driving 100 miles to rent a cheap motel room. And so having financial security was, I think, a strong motivator, and escaping sort of that past was what I was running away from. And what I'm running towards now at this point in my life, I think is, I've had an incredible life, starting from where I started to now be at the point to have invested in some of the greatest companies created on earth. I stand now as an embodiment of the American dream, this idea that if you work hard and you work smart, you can achieve anything you want. But I feel like the American dream is broken and not everybody has that access. And what I'm running towards is really creating a world where that American dream works for everybody, where this idea of opportunity is truly available to everybody. And the work that I'm doing in Code.org is to fix something that's wrong in the opportunity system in our country and in our world.
Bluntly, do you feel the lack of resources early on in your life, and lack of money, to be clear, do you feel that gave you a drive and a grit that you otherwise wouldn't have had?
Absolutely. Growing up with a poor family gave me grit and hunger and ambition. And what's interesting is I came from a family that had a lot of money before the Iranian Revolution. Back in Iran, my grandparents and their brothers, they were all the equivalent of billionaires, in a different currency in a different time. And so I didn't know that because I was like 4 years old. So it wasn't just that we grew up without money. We grew up without money because it was taken away from us. And when you have your money taken away from your family by the government, and you know that all of your grandparents were entrepreneurs and business people, it has this sense of not just I wanted to succeed, but I almost felt like taking something back or winning it back effectively, or righting an injustice that had happened.
I totally get you. Many people have said on the show about actually Parker Conrad at Rippling that vengeance is what makes him special. I'm sure you can imagine as to who.